Good morning. This is Dwayne again, and this is Module 2 of Fairest Lord Jesus. Last week we kept the bare bones structure of the hymn itself, and we didn't do any variation at all, just showed how to play it lightly and so on. And we'll combine that later with what we're going to do the next 2 weeks. So this week we're going to take up the first 8 measures of the song in a pretty complex arrangement. So we're going to just focus on those 8 measures so you can get it down cold. Because once you get that down, you can use this chord progression in other kinds of songs, okay? And that's true of, everything that we're covering, really. The concepts are transferable concepts. In other words, you're not just learning one song, but you're learning a concept, a chord progression, a style that you can plug into other songs as well. And that's how you get better, of course. Okay, so you know how Fairest Lord Jesus goes. Well, this time we're gonna take a different progression. The melody, of course, goes, but we're gonna change the chords under that, and I'll show you how. The first is gonna be a B diminished seventh. In other words, F with D under it, and the left hand A, and my little finger on B. Okay, got that? Now we're gonna go down by half steps. Just slide everything except the melody note down a half step. Now another half step. Now another half step. Okay, let's take it that far. That's B diminished seventh. That's B flat minor seventh. That's the F chord with the ninth in it. Here's the ninth. You don't really need to figure it that way, or you can call it some sort of A minor chord, except the melody is F, which doesn't fit in the A minor chord. But in context, during the passing tones, that's very tolerable, as you'll see. Okay, once again, half step south, another half step south, another half step south. Now we're going to play G minor seventh. So under the melody, G, F, D, B flat. Left hand, you can have an F in the thumb and little finger on G. Now for the next chord, you have a choice of either going to C7th to F, okay? Or we'll continue down the half steps. There's G minor 7th. Now we can do an G flat 7th, okay? And that's simply E on top, that's the 7th, D flat, B flat, A flat, my left hand on E natural, and G flat. And that's a half step slide into F. Or you can do a plagal cadence there. So, let me do it again. Then when you get, instead of going to F, you might use an inside plagal cadence. In other words, under F, put in B flat, and then B flat, C, B flat, A, and my left hand moves down from D to C, that's all. Okay, now in context. Okay, now, it's more effective if you play it up an octave higher. And be sure and push your pedal down on every beat. In other words, pedal down, pedal up, pedal down, pedal, 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 and do it very softly. Okay, now I'm going to do it just like I was playing in a solo. Okay, now the next, that was 4 bars. Now the next 4 bars will take off also, but I want to make sure you get these first 4 bars down cold, okay? So once again, the melody, that's all there is to the melody. But under F you have D in the right hand, and left hand A with B below it. Now we slide down a half a step. My right hand goes down from D to D flat. My left hand goes down from A to A flat and B to B flat. Now another half step. Another half step. Now G minor 7th. Now I gave you that choice of either playing C 7th or the G flat 7th. And then the inside plagal cadence. It's called inside, by the way, because it's not on the top or bottom. It's inside the chord. That's why it's called an inside plagal cadence. Plagal is a fancy word for the amen cadence. That's amen. You've heard that a zillion times, okay? Now, let me play another song, which is a jazz. This is Fairest Lord Jesus, of course, very beautiful and delicate, but here's a jazz tune. Did you see that progression? It's the same one we used in Fairest Lord Jesus. And at the end, that's exactly what we did with Fairest Lord Jesus. So, see what I mean about transferable concepts? You take the concept that you learn in one tune and apply it to something else. Not that you want to play that jazz tune, but I was just illustrating the fact that that can be used in a lot of different songs, a lot of different contexts, okay? So, now let's take it from the beginning. An octave higher. That's 4 measures. Now, the second 4 measures are just as complex. As you know, the melody is A, and normally it'd have an F chord, but we're going to start E minor 9th, okay? So under A, F sharp, D, and B. In my left hand, D with E under it. Let me do that again. Okay, just 4 or 5 chords, but it's a little bit complex. So we're playing E minor 9th there, A on top, F sharp, D, and B. Left hand on E on the bottom with D above it. Now on the left hand, we're going to sink down a half a step to E flat 7th. Just down by a half step. Sounds kind of growly when you play it by itself, but in context, it's fine. And my right hand then keeps the A on top, but under it moves to F, D flat, and C. That's the next chord. And then we go to D7 suspension. In other words, D in the left hand, say D, A, D, dear old dad. And in the right hand, we have A, G, E, and C. That's a suspension on D7th, isn't it? Now we're going to resolve it. Move the 2 middle fingers from G and E to F sharp and D, E flat. Okay, once again. Once more. Now G minor 7th, C 7th. I'm going to use C 7th to the flat 9th. Instead of C, I'll hit D flat. My left hand can play C and G and maybe E, and then resolve to F. Now, what I like to do on the F chord there is play a G and then pass it to F. Okay, now the whole sequence. once more. Okay, that's the first 8 bars of Fairest Lord Jesus. And that's all we're going to do, because that's a lot to do. And if you master that, you'll be in good shape to master the last 8 bars as well. Okay, so let me take it that far. I'll start an octave higher. To have the contrast between the first few bars and the second few bars, high and low is always good. Now we move down an octave. Okay, can you get that yet? Once more. Okay, and next week we'll take up this part. And we'll probably end like something like this, just like we started. Okay, so that'll be next week as we do Module 3 of Fairest Lord Jesus. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye for now.